Welcome to Casa Academy Chapter 15 Part 1, where we will cover real estate markets and analysis. Today, we're going to take a real top-down journey into how property valuation actually works out there in the real world. We'll be looking at the massive, almost invisible forces that push and pull at property prices every single day, and then we'll zoom all the way down to see how those exact forces impact one specific plot of dirt. Honestly, it's a fascinating system once you see how all the gears turn together.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. First, supply, demand, and markets. Second, the local nature of land. Third, government influence on markets. Fourth, the neighborhood life cycle. And finally, highest and best use. Let's start right from the top.
Section 1. Supply, Demand, and Markets. Economic discussions can sometimes sound, incredibly complicated. But at its core, the real estate market is driven by a surprisingly simple yet powerful balance between the properties available and the buyers who want them. Think of a buyer's market. Here, the supply of available properties simply outpaces demand. We've got excess inventory, houses sit on the market longer, and because of that, prices tend to soften or even decline. But man, when that environment flips to a seller's market, it's a whole different ballgame. Suddenly, buyer demand is swallowing up supply. You've got multiple buyers chasing the exact same house, and all that fierce competition pushes prices straight upward. Getting a feel for this relationship is absolutely crucial for your real estate foundation.
Moving right along to Section 2, the local nature of land.
So you might be wondering, why does a red-hot real estate market in one state mean absolutely nothing to a property sitting just a few states over? Well, unlike high-value items like classic cars or artwork, land is literally immobile and indestructible. Think about it. If demand for a rare painting is weak in your town, the owner can just pack it up, right? Ship it to an auction house across the country where buyers are paying top dollar. Real estate just doesn't give you that kind of flexibility. The property stays exactly where it's planted. You can't pack up a house and move it to take advantage of shifting trends. And this brilliantly illustrates why a property's value is entirely tethered to the highly specific conditions of its local market.
Next up, Section 3, Government Influence on Markets.
Now, we just talked about supply and demand as natural market forces, right? But we really have to recognize the external constraints here, because real estate is never, and I mean never, a completely free, unregulated market. Local governments step in and strictly control how property can actually be utilized and built upon. Through zoning laws, land use restrictions, building codes, the whole shebang, the government directly dictates development. Let's say you've got incredible buyer demand for a high-rise apartment on a specific downtown lot. Huge demand. But if local zoning laws say that land is strictly for single-family homes, that high-rise is not getting built, period. These regulations essentially act as a permanent filter on all those natural supply and demand forces.
All right, zooming in a bit more. Section 4, the neighborhood life cycle.
Let's bring it down from the broad regional level right down to the neighborhood level. Because neighborhoods, they aren't static. They're almost like living organisms that follow a highly predictable 4-part evolution. Step 1 is growth. This is the exciting part. New development is happening, it's actively attracting new residents and businesses to the area. Then, as the neighborhood matures, it settles into Step 2, stability. Property values level out and occupancy stays pretty consistent. But over time, we almost always see Step 3, decline. Homes age out, maybe routine maintenance gets deferred, folks start moving away. Now, before we look at how that decline actually sparks new life, just a quick administrative note for your records. Your verification code is 652011. Make sure to jot that down. Okay, so while decline sounds like a bad thing, it actually acts like a magnet for new investors. They spot these aging areas as totally ripe for opportunity, which kicks off Step 4, revitalization. New homeowners come in, they're ready to pour money into renovating those older properties, values shoot back up, and the whole cycle beautifully begins all over again.
And finally, Section 5, Highest and Best Use.
Now, this is a very specific topic, but honestly, it's a real game changer because it lays the essential groundwork for everything you'll be covering in your upcoming appraisal chapter. Highest and best use simply refers to the legal use of a property that produces the greatest possible value or return when compared to any alternative uses. So the crucial point is this. An appraiser isn't just looking at what a property is being used for right this second. No, they are playing detective, always searching for the most profitable legal potential of that specific patch of dirt.
To actually figure that out, appraisers have to put a property through 4 strict mandatory tests. First up,
Is it legally permissible? Meaning, does this proposed use actually comply with all those local zoning laws we just talked about? Second, is it physically possible? Do the physical traits of the site, like the soil type, the size, the shape, actually support the building? Third, is it financially feasible? Like, is this project going to generate a solid enough economic return to even justify the cost of building it? And fourth, is it maximally productive? Out of all the feasible ideas that pass those first three hurdles, which single use creates the absolute highest value? Pass all four of those tests, and boom, you have found the property's highest and best use.
As we start to wrap things up here, I really want you to see how everything we covered today is just deeply interconnected. It's like a giant puzzle. Supply and demand dictate whether prices soften or soar. The fact that land is strictly immobile means those prices are glued to specific geographies. Government rules tightly shape what you can actually build there. Neighborhoods breathe in and out through cycles of growth and decline. And all of that, the whole system, funnels right down into determining a single property's highest and best use. These market principles are absolutely the bedrock for pricing, investment decisions, appraisals, and development throughout your entire real estate career.
So, I want to leave you with a thought as we prep for the next chapter. Based on everything we just dug into regarding local markets, strict zoning, and neighborhood life cycles, how will these massive, universal market forces directly dictate the final appraised value of your very next property? Keep that question front and center in your mind as you move forward. Thanks so much for joining us today, and I'll see you in the next lesson.